Boom. Here, I'll start spreading the link. And yeah, while I'm spreading the link, I'm gonna just ask you two to tell the audience a little bit about yourselves, because this is fantastic. This is actually the first time I get to see these two kind of, with video and everything too. So
Right. Yeah, I'm still getting used to the whole video thing myself too, so don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm coming from Archaics Research. I really like what Jason has been doing. For me, I had like 3 aha moments with Jason basically, so it's kind of where I've kind of stayed with, and I just he's done so much for me in such a short amount of time. I'm just willing to spread the message, really. So it's kind of where I'm at.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris. I found Jason through Jay Dreamers talking about the plasma apocalypse. I was doing my own chronological research, and Jason was just like crazy knowledge. So I found this community and we started talking on Discord, and now we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess kind of the core tenets of it all is really catastrophe, right? Really what Archaics holds as a central theme is that there are people that are, I guess you could say, the easiest way to say is incoherent frequency. There are people that are in fear, that are motivated by how do you say, day-to-day, paycheck to paycheck desires. And there are those people that don't want to fall into patterns. There are those people that really aren't parasites if you really go down deep into it, right? There are people that want to do something completely unrelated to the patterns and the pathology that's being created right now. And I think that's what unites us in the Archaics community. Wouldn't you guys say so?
Yeah, it's basically understanding base reality, I guess. And most people, from what you said, that are in the collective, as we call it, they're reacting. They're not actually being proactive and moving. They're actually just reacting to the stimulus out in the collective and just letting things come to them instead of them actually, taking it to the man. I'm just using that as a reference, but not really take it to the man, but you know what I'm saying.
So everything is programmed into our holography, and people choose how they either react to it or act to it.
Exactly.
So part of my goal was finding people who were taking action instead of the collective. And I started doing that around 2020.
And isn't that one of the main tenets of Jason? That again, the simulacrum or the simulatrix, I like to call, only recognizes action. That's it. You know what I mean? Doesn't care about your feelings, doesn't care about your thoughts. It doesn't have access to those things. What it does have access to is the code that you're inputting into the matrix, right? And that happens to be in the which is the basic form action. And so, isn't it true that when it comes to a self-sustainable community, we want actors? You know what I mean? We want people who act. We want people who how do you say? And actors, and also in the sense that we're not pretending anymore, right?
But know that there's a game being played.
Yes.
The people that actually know the game is being played. That's kind of how I've seen this whole thing after his research, is that I'm legitimately playing a game. Once you realize it's not a prison world that you live in, that they've hidden everything from us, then you can start seeing and realizing where to go, what to do. But ultimately it also comes down to, I've noticed that most people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you want, and part of his research, it's really hard to use your informed field the correct way. You have to really make it a part of yourself, basically. But but I also use Discord. I decided to use Discord as the means to find people with the Archaics community and do all this. So I was trying to find I've tried around here where I live, and like Jason says, like even his community is a drop in the bucket of people out there. It's just a small, and where I live, I'm the only drop in my bucket around my area. So I decided to spread out and use Discord as a means to find people and talk just like we are. That's all I want to do, is have great conversations and voice chat right now with people, and then everything else will fall into place.
And so eventually I'll put that link in the description after I receive it from you guys. But if you're looking to start, or I shouldn't be too specific, but if you're interested in this community and interested in more Archaics kind of people, and you guys are obviously this is to other people too. It's just archaics really brought us together with that, unbiased chronological knowledge, so that we know where we come from and where we're going, kind of a thing. So if you're interested in starting a self-sustainable community with these folks, make sure you go on their Discord channel and give an opportunity for Christos and Clay to get to know you, right? To actually talk to you and see if you're one of the people that are just going to be programmed by AIX or not. It's real simple, right?
Yeah, it's that simple. It's just getting people in here to get to know me, Christos, and Adam, and the ones that we're trying to do this. And ultimately, we're trying to make a community, kind of attach it with Jason and Archaics Research. He's about to come start doing weekly chats on our Discord. So that's going to be a great thing to do. And I'm just hoping to open it up to our brothers and sisters that really want to, what he calls it, breaking pattern. If you're ready to break pattern and you're tired of the collective, you want something new, that's what we're trying to build. But we had to create a filter. And I know I don't want to make that sound bad, but I feel to do what we're trying to do, you need to be at a certain level of research. You have to come to certain understandings of just a natural world. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be all archaics, but we really want you to have a good understanding of what he's talking about. Because besides all of his history, to me, one of the most important things that he teaches is all the esoteric stuff, everything using your informed field, trying to use the reality how you want to see it, and all that stuff, man. He's got so many gems. But
it's crazy.
Ultimately, just mainly my goal is to get people to come talk to us like this, because you can't be behind a keyboard and get to know anybody. So anybody willing to voice chat and talk and understand what we're doing, that's all I can look for right now, or hope for, really.
Yeah, you were going to say something, Chris?
I was going to say we're all kind of just figuring out what roles we need in the community. So we have builders, we have people who know how to garden, people who know a lot about naturopathic health, like what you're what you're saying with Stevie and everything. What we're really trying to get to is a point where we have free energy, which is not something we'll like publish on YouTube just because we want to protect ourselves. But if you know any way of producing free energy, then please come have a chat with us.
Yes. If you know about the magnets, if you know about copper, if you know about how to work with these wires, please contact us.
But that's not the whole thing. Even if my main thing was starting this was anybody that was just tired of the collective and was ready to build something with your own two hands. If you want to work your butt off to create a community, you don't have to know anything. You can learn along the way. I just want people that are wanting to build something from the ground up. You don't have to know anything, but learning something before we start in the spring, because that's when we're hoping to start. Bring whatever you want to the table. I want to create a space where everybody's realities and creations to come to fruition. Whatever we can do in nature, whatever we can build, whatever we can think of as only I see as errants, people like us can do, that's what I want to do. That's the space that I see where everybody just basically makes your dreams come, almost like Disneyland. We're creating a separate Disneyland but it's going to be more like an RPG, like Middle Earth. It's just, man, I've envisioned all of this. And that's how the informed field works too. You have to have this knowing, and you gotta see it, and you gotta envision it, and then you gotta make it become a part of yourself, basically. And that's what this has become with me and Christos and all of us. We just made it all a part of our reality now, and it's already there for us. We're just getting there.
It's just a matter of time.
Details don't matter.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before the informed field actually brings that in. We're already in that act mode where this is all we're going to do. Self-sustainable community is the only thing to do. What's in the matrix right now, that collapsing, claustrophobic, pattern, repetitious bullshit parasite cycle, we're done with that. I think most of us, right?
Absolutely.
Just figuring out who's done with it.
Absolutely. Yep. And it is that, to me, it is simple to me. There's two choices right now. There's the collective, and then if you're honest with yourself, think about it. What else is there besides the collective?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm open to anything. If you got another way of getting away from the collective, I'll hear it. Absolutely, I'll hear it. But I don't think there's another way. But like the Hopi said in the prophecies, that to survive what's coming in the future, we have to get back to the old ways, back to nature. And
Yes,
that's ultimately it. I simplify my life. I simplify everything. Do you truly want to be a part of this nonsense that's happening? Or do you want to come and actually be around people that you've never been around before that are on the same frequency as you, that think the same way? Because most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, none of us have ever had that. We've just been lost in the collective.
exactly.
So that's ultimately what we're trying to create. People like us that love life, have figured out this place and know it's not a prison world, but you can play the game correctly. And that's where we're at now, just playing the game.
And that's been my experience too, is I've been encountering people, and as I grow, I encounter people that are already grown, but it's more and more. And so now it's like, there's a distaste or a discontent with everything that's already here. So now I'm at that point where I think the game has led me to do something that's not here. You know what I mean? And with my action, it has to come here. But in this sense, it's like, yeah, man, I'm just, I think my whole life has been programmed in that way where, and I think we were talking about it with Chris and Clay too, but it's like, the things I've done in the past, the different so-called quote unquote patterns that have been happening in the past are really only learning lessons bringing me here, only learning lessons to actually like, shoot off into nature and to find out, what's the most simple way to live? How do we get together without the bullshit? Because I think that's the biggest problem, man, is all of these government structures, these societal whatever pressures, peer pressure is bullshit. So it's like, what happens when that's out of the way? That's my question. If you guys have any comment on that.
Is if you believe there's opposition, there's going to be opposition.
Yeah.
That's that we tend to believe.
Yes.
Like you can go into something like creating a new space for people thinking this way.
Yes.
With opposition already in mind. So a lot of these people will think, hey, they're going to come for our land because we're free. They're going to come for this. They're going to get us for taxes, all this stuff. Like,
exactly.
They're not. They're not.
And this what if is opposition-based thinking. Like you're constantly opposing yourself. You're constantly in conflict that you're never thinking of reality. And, Clay was just talking about this earlier when we were off the show, is some people are not even in reality. And that's why we need to filter those people out, right?
Yeah, they think in abstract. Most people, like, I don't just do archaics research. Rudolf Steiner is a good source to look into. He talks about a lot of this stuff and how people think in abstract. And basically what that is, kind of put it into an example that like our sciences now, like people will specialize in one thing and they won't talk to anybody else.
Yes.
That's not reality. Just
exactly.
like with math, when they broke it up originally from algebra to geometry to all that, it needed to be together so you could visualize the algebra with geometry, but they split that from it too. And it's not reality. That's not reality. And there's only one thing in this world, or two, you can say, that is real. Us and nature, but the collective, it's everything that was created by man. Everything that we created, everything that we put out there, even the bench you're sitting on right now is not real.
Exactly.
It's not real. We're real. We're real, coming together as communities and us and nature. That's it.
How they compartmentalize people.
Yes.
So when, like the earth is flat, wouldn't everyone at NASA know that it was flat if it was? It's like, no, dude, they put everyone little tiny boxes.
Exactly.
They don't know the full truth.
Yeah, and if you're honest with yourself, everybody's been put in little boxes your entire life.
Yes.
All throughout the collective. That's all AIX, and that's what we call him basically over here. AIX, Satan, whatever you want to call it, Demiurge, is he's putting in this all of us in these reality tunnels. And as long as you're staying there, you're good. You're good. You don't have to waste energy and all that stuff.
Outside the box, you're okay, right?
That's exactly what they want. And we are, what Jason says, and I love it, is break free or die trying.
Yes, I do. I'll say this, man. I think thinking outside the box is a little bit of a risk. It's common sense.
I say the collective box. I like to say just the collective box, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Like labels, all of it. If it's something we're thinking about when we're doing this, and it's the collective, I'm gonna think about it twice or a couple times. Be like,
exactly.
Let's maybe do something else. Okay, we've been having this our whole life, but let's try this first.
Just like investing, right? If you follow the collective, you're going to be one of the losers. You know what I mean?
The biggest key tenet to every bit of what we're talking about, regardless of what you pick up on or you think or you hear, fear. If you were
Yes.
living in fear,
Yes.
that fear, regardless of what it is always going to make the choice for you.
Exactly.
You're going to let it make it for you because you're afraid. You don't
Uh-huh.
want to try. You don't want to risk. You don't
Mhm.
want to take that step or whatever. But when I begun this, I absolutely had no opposition. I never thought about opposition, and I'm hoping to tell everyone that wants to hear it. We don't have time to do it now, but maybe some other time, or when people come in and talk to us in Discord. I have an amazing story to tell y'all from this, starting from what I've seen. I'm fully on board with this place being a construct, a simulacrum. That we're here for a purpose. That it is a game we're playing. You have nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to
Yes.
worry about death. I've never been afraid of death. I've always known that I have everything I want in life. But I realize there's absolutely more that we can have. With our power, we can actually, and I say it that way too, because it is true. With your power, instead of you giving it away to somebody else, use it for yourself and make your reality happen for you. And
Yes.
that's all we're doing. And I'm trusting this community and the people that we find, that we are enough enlightened souls that we can come together and do this thing.
Yes.
You should be at that point. If you're at this level of research, you should already be close to that point where you're like, you know what, let's do it. We can do it. I'm having faith in my fellow man. But I've been full circle too. I've been where everybody is at too, like hating everything with a collective and hating humanity and hating people and all this stuff. But man, once I came back around full circle, I just realized it's all about people and community. Truly is.
Exactly.
We were never supposed to do it alone in this time, because spiritual was taken on the inside. This was all meant to happen. Y'all have to keep that in mind. It was all meant for us to look for it inside, but it was never meant for us to do it alone either, to become sovereign. And that's another thing we haven't talked about, but sovereignty. That's something we're real big on. You can spiritually play the game and get off the collective, and you can physically do it. The simulacrum gave you both ways. So
Amen.
you can do paperwork to actually become and say, hey, collective, I'm alive, baby. I'm no longer dead at sea. And
Yes.
that's where we're at right now. There's a whole new way to play this game. And once
Yes.
you see it, nothing will stop you to get there. I can promise you that.
100%, man. Once you take full capacity and control of the straw man or the person, who really is there to stop you? It's
You
only
have
the
to just
person.
go. That's
Yeah.
it. That's what Jason says, man. Just go. You just have to just go. And sometimes all you need to do sometimes, and I've noticed this just by starting this a couple of months ago, it can take just typing a letter.
Yes.
Just typing a letter, doing something simple in the direction you want to go,
Yeah.
and start seeing the simulacrum and looking at the details, and you will see the simulacrum showing you and trying to take you to what you want. It
Exactly.
will try to show you, but that comes with also knowing what you want.
Exactly.
So
And
it's
one
all
thing,
there, baby. It is. It really is, man. I've learned to play. It's changed my life, man. I'm telling you, this whole
yeah.
thing.
And like I said with you guys, I won't get specific with my mom ending up somewhere in the world,
Yes, you told me about that. Yes, I
It's
remember.
like, are you serious? Like at this point, the whole thing is a joke. You know what I mean? But anyhow, man. But that's the thing. I think the collective again has no common sense. So really, out of the box thinking is common sense. If you think about it, right? Because what's wrong with the collective? They don't think for themselves and they just follow. But they're just seeking for validation from others. But common sense doesn't need validation. Common sense just sees what is sensible, what is reasonable, what is practical. And I think by nature, that is out of the box thinking. You know what I mean? With this free energy that we're talking about and all these different things, alkaline, electric, native foods, whatever. It's just common sense. And I think that's what unites the archaics people. Because really, man, I'm not a hugely smart, intellectual, scientific. I told you I'm not a big reader, right? But archaics research resonates with me. Why? Because that shit is timeless knowledge. That stuff you don't just
It's the
make up.
truth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the truth. And see, this is what I like to tell people too. Archaics research to me is in-game level research.
Yes.
This wasn't just going to keep going, and there was like infinite truth. That's not what this place is.
Yes.
If you're supposed to live in truth like you've been told your whole life, there has to be truth here and everywhere. So what this place is, being a simulacrum, we're going to know all of that. We can know all that. But the collective, all the people in it are the ones that are actually creating all the nonsense that's going on, because they've allowed the fear-based negative default programming to rule them. So it's actually the collective, everyone together, that's creating the negative thing that's going on. And it's us that, but that was meant to happen too. If you really understand Archaic's research, that it was meant to be a sparring partner for us, basically. It was there to make sure we wake up and to make sure that we see. And it was never meant for everyone. It wasn't. You have to come to terms with that too. It's not meant for your family and everybody else. It is only meant maybe only 33% of people. Like you've heard that number your whole life.
Yes.
You know, it's esoteric. That could be the only amount of people that's real. We don't know. But it's my big thing is though, be willing to talk about it and be able to hear and listen to somebody else and take that as truth too if you need to. If it goes against something you thought before, well, just accept it into your informed field. That's the biggest key right there, is to be able to keep accepting new knowledge and be okay no matter where that knowledge comes from. And
perhaps listen without thinking before. You know, don't listen for something, right? Just listen.
Absolutely. Great way of putting it.
And if it's true, it'll resonate naturally. You don't have to try to, like you do in school, you don't have to try to listen. If something makes sense, you'll want to listen. And that's what I think, you know, these new communities are going to be. And
not just that, and something I've learned too by Archaic's research for months and all this is that when, like he says too, it's one of his big tenets, when you find something to be true and you know it to be true, you will see it from multiple vantage points. Amen. You will see it pop up in the simulacrum. You will see somebody say something, just like you said with your mother. Yeah. She said that, and I know we're not gonna, but that is showing you what most likely your soul wants. There's this thing happening there, and that just pointed you in that direction. This is what you have to be able to see and use discernment on. It's not just looking at knowledge and reading books and stuff. You actually have to see what the simulacrum and AIX and account is doing to this place. Yes. And you basically accept all that and realize you can go this way. They can do whatever they want. You can do whatever you want. You are only tied down by your own beliefs. That's it. Your own beliefs and what you think. That's the only thing that ties you down in this place.
And you know what? We're almost at the end of the hour. If Chris doesn't have anything to add to that, I think we should end on that note, man.
I was just gonna say, like, if you feel like you're ready to kind of experience the real world, you're done with the 3D game, like start looking for people, places, and things that will give you the 4D sovereignty that you want and that we deserve and that we're building, because I think that's the only thing left. Like, we're going to create something great.
Man, that's why I call myself the no choice man. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah, one last thing though. If you're really interested in this and you come over to our Discord and stuff, all I ask is just get a chance to get to know us in voice chat.
Yes.
Come talk to us if you're really on board with it, because I know I'm asking a lot of people to trust me too, because I'm the one that began this whole thing, what we're doing over here, and I know it's a big ask. I know that, but that's also that fear-based thing that's going to stop you from,
exactly,
you know, because I'm having faith in all of us and I know we can do this. I've never doubted it from the moment I decided, you know what, this is what I'm doing. And I just went, and I have an amazing story I can tell people to show how I've seen the simulacrum and how it works. And I've seen it through this process and stuff. But until you actually break pattern and go against the collective, it's very hard to see.
Yes.
Very hard to see.
And yeah, again, with that, let's end this thing, because you hit it on the head. You know, the only thing stopping you is your beliefs. So
I'll go off on tangents too. You'll have to stop me, of course.
Me too. I think we all share that characteristic. But anyhow, thank you guys for joining me, and I'm excited. So I'll see you guys soon.
Love you all, brothers and sisters. Come join us anytime.